goes the recording in here for the backup. Here goes the encoder. And you are good to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, you thought there was a whole bunch of shit that we had to talk about last week when it was really just one list? Nope. We have a whole bunch more shit to talk about today. We are going to be going on with our lists. This week, we're going to talk about the top 10 mic workers, the people who use the microphone the best in all of professional wrestling, not just WWE. We're also going to be making our NXT TakeOver in your house predictions with our pro wrestling scorecard. So you can go to prowrestlingscorecards.com right now, fill out your own pro wrestling scorecard, and possibly sign up for that free digital beta. It's free. You sign up. You're involved with all of the other people in the fucking thing, and you get to see how you stack up against everyone. And then last week, we started off with it for a little bit, but we're going to get into a lot more with the things that are going on in wrestling this week the things that are going on in the world this week because it's really transitioning into a lot of what's going on in wrestling. So we're getting into all that and more this week as we
break the ring down.
It just goes away.
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
The cream rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. Made the list. This right here is a family.
Hey, this is professional wrestler and professional podcaster Colt Boom Boom Cabana.
My name is Killer Cross.
This is The Smoke Show, Scarlett Bordeaux.
What's up, guys? The After Machine, Brian Cage.
This is Ryan from Pro Wrestling Tees.
Sadly, you are not listening to The Art of Wrestling, but you made a decent choice because you're listening.
You are now listening to...
When you're listening...
And you're listening to...
You listen to Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring. Break it down.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the most inappropriate pro wrestling show in the motherfucking world. You're listening to Breaking Down the Ring, and we are your ring crew.
Smitty.
Nick. And Z.
And me, the almighty one, Mikey himself. Ladies and gentlemen, just to give you info just before we go into anything that we're talking about today, we put up a brand new Breaking Down the Ring Pride shirt onto our website. If you go to breakingdownthering.com, when you purchase this shirt, 30% of the total cost is going to go help support LGBTQ youths. The reason I chose 30% is for a couple of reasons. Number one, the rate of suicide with these youths is like 4 times higher. It's like 30% of the youths, which is 4 times higher than the rate of straight kids who aren't fighting with this. And that's the ones who are out. The ones who are still in the closet and haven't come out to anyone, that rate is 2 times higher than normal straight kids. I guess regular straight kids, just not regular. I have normal.
Heterosexual.
I'm just so basically there's no reason that this should be happening. If somebody is gay, if somebody is bisexual, if somebody is straight, there's no reason that they should feel like they're less than because of their sexuality. But handling that stuff, going through that stuff mentally and emotionally, on top of dealing with whatever the fuck you're dealing with parents being assholes sometimes, friends being assholes all the time, there's no reason that they shouldn't have someone to talk to help get them out. So that's what the 30% is going to. It is going to help support the use of the community. And this is Pride Month. That's when the shirt is up. But this 30% charity doesn't stop when June stops. The entire time we are selling this shirt, 30% of that shirt of what you pay for that shirt is going to the charity. We've sold one shirt again, I put it up yesterday. We sold one shirt. So already it said that we donated $7.20. So breakingdownthering.com, get yourself a Pride shirt and help contribute to making sure that everyone, no matter what their sexuality as a child, can grow up to be a nice, great, productive human in the world, as they should be. Let's talk a little bit about the shit that's going on in the world. We dabbled into it last week, basically just saying we're not a political show, but this is not political. This is a humanity issue in the world. So many people fighting for Black Lives Matter, regardless of what is coming out of any side politically. There are, Democrats, there are Republicans who are idiots on both sides. We said that we basically, just real quick, we are for all of the peaceful protests. We are for everything. What happened to George Floyd was absolutely horrendous. Let's not, though, forget people like Breonna Taylor, who just celebrated, who would have celebrated her birthday the last couple days. She was also killed because police went into her house with a warrant because there was suspicion of drugs being sold out of her house, and so she passed away. Then you got all just look, man. It's not like it's something fucking new, right?
Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice.
Go ahead, yeah. Keep naming them, Smitty. I was gonna say I was just about to shoot way back though because
Emmett Till.
You had the Rodney King beatings in fucking '92, which started off riots and stuff like that. For 56 years, Black people have had the ability to. All of the Jim Crow laws were kind of look. The Jim Crow laws were fucking removed finally after 56 years. 56 years ago, but that was like 120 fucking years after they were told that Black people were told that they weren't equal and they were going to get their fair shot. So it's not like this shouldn't be fresh in anybody's mind. Like every time someone says, "Oh, but you weren't a part," like, dude, 56 fucking years ago, right? That fucking like a little bit more than that, maybe it was like 1968. 7, something like that. It's fucking ridiculous.
I thought it was 52 years ago. I posted a thing because Martin Luther King was assassinated 52 years ago, and it passed 6 days after he was assassinated.
All right, so 52 years, 50 fucking years, man. Dude, fucking grandmothers are older than that right now. Most people I know, parents are a little older than that right now. So it's not like it's not fresh. It's not, oh, they were slaves or everything, all these wars. Like, no, that it still fucking affects people to this day. Now, I want Smitty to speak a little bit on what he's been dealing with. He didn't really want to talk too much last week. It was really fresh. He still doesn't want to talk too much this week. But he's our friend. As much as we give him shit, we love him. And this is something that he has obviously been dealing with his whole life. Look at him. He's an African-American male. And he, regardless of where he's grown up, which is the city of Detroit, it does not change the fact that he has had to deal with a lot of stuff in a negative light because of the color of his skin. So Smitty, with all of this going on, when George Floyd was first murdered, Memorial Day, to now, when there's lawmakers in the Congress trying to push things a little bit more forward. You have the Atlanta mayor designating a Black Lives Matter piece right in front of the White House in the district where the entire Black Lives Matter was written on the street. To a lot more stuff coming up because a lot of people have cell phones now, with good video, not just bullshit video. How have you been seeing? Are you been proud of the protests? Are you feeling like this could be different? Because that's what a lot of people are saying. Is they feel like this could be different because it's not just Black people marching anymore. Now it's everyone's marching, including tons of countries outside of the U.S.
I really feel like this is the first time I've seen where I feel like there's real hope for change. I've been out to some of these protests here in Detroit, honest, because one of the quotes from Martin Luther King is that sometimes silence becomes betrayal. I can't just sit back and keep watching when all this happened. Um, I, so I'm tired. I'm emotionally drained from all of this right now, and social media, even though it puts light on a lot of things, it's also pissing me off even more because some of these things I see is like stop just like I get like the police brutality thing, like you need proof, like there's proof needs to be shown, but some of this stuff people are just still just sitting by and watching while it happens, and that's one of the things that pisses me off. And there's just some people's ignorance still at this point. You see what's going on in the world, but you just turn the blind eye.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yes, as a black man, I have been mistreated throughout parts of my life, and I'm just still trying to be hopeful at this point in life. I'm just done. Really, just done.
And yeah, you can't even argue that, man. I mean, there's obviously a lot of people, not even just African Americans, are kind of done. Like that was, like I think what I was watching on the news, someone said it best. They were like, "Look, it was Van Jones actually. Van Jones was like, look, man, 1-2 minutes into this, that video, the George Floyd video, he's like 1-2 minutes into it, you're like, all right, they're subduing him. He goes, but then you get to minute 3, minute 4, minute 5, minute 6, minute 7, minute 8, minute, damn near minute 9. It's no longer a justifiable thing that's going on. And regardless, he said that you can look at all these other videos, there's always some sort of sliver of, yeah, but he may have been resisting, or yeah, he may have been larger than anyone. Yeah, there was a warrant to go in her house. Yeah, all these things like that, where there was always this possibility of a yeah, but this video kind of takes all of that away, because there isn't a single person who can look at the video of what happened to George Floyd, regardless of what their support is, and ultimate racists are probably the only ones that can look at this and go, yeah, he should have been treated like that. No decent human being, regardless of affiliation to party, affiliation to race, anything, can look at that and go, that man was treated the way a criminal or anyone being arrested should have been treated, regardless of the crime. But any decent
alleged
person,
counterfeit.
Right, a $20 possible $20 counterfeit bill, but there isn't a single person that's decent that can look at that video and go, that was handled correctly. It wasn't. It was completely disgusting, an abomination of things. And so therefore that might be also helpful. Thank God that these people didn't stop recording until it was over. Thank God that these people there's been security cameras, and you could see how every little aspect of this played to where you can go, he wasn't resisting arrest. The dude was arrested on the ground before the other cops got there to start this shit up. Getting away from that, and this, we're going to bring it into why we're talking about this today, is a lot of people in wrestling are speaking on this. The Rock cut a 8-minute promo asking, where are you? Where's the compassionate leaders that help bring the country together during this? I and many people took this as a quick little shot to Trump, but as well as the people on the ground. It's like, hey, come on, stand the fuck up. This isn't just about the guy running the country. This is all about the people in the country, because everyone should be standing up, being compassionate leaders as to why this is a big time issue, why it's Black Lives Matter. Fuck, Randy Orton stepped out of the All Lives Matter thing, and he fucking posted Black Lives Matter last week or 2 weeks ago. And Randy Orton's been one of those guys that's been like, no, all lives matter. But then someone called him out, and he goes, no, you're not. What I didn't realize is that all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter as well. It's never been Black Lives only matter, Black Lives Matter more. It's, hey, no, we matter as well, equally. So The Rock cut that major promo. Heartfelt. I honestly thought he was about to throw his hat into the race and be a third-party candidate for the 2020 presidential election, the way that was going off around minute 6 or 7. Smitty, when that video came out, obviously we posted it to our Facebook page, facebook.com/BDRcast. What were your initial thoughts listening to it and watching it?
My initial thought was he's 100% correct about the leadership in his nation, in this country. Especially when he kept saying, "Where are you when we need you the most?" But also, to a certain degree, I'm like, what took him so long to speak up at this point too? But that's a personal thing.
But still, it's valid. Let's not pretend like it's not valid, because it's not like he said anything. He didn't say anything until shortly after Trump's conversation.
Yeah, the whole Trump using riot police to clear out a church for photo op.
Yep, peaceful protest. Yeah, he didn't say anything until it was after that. So, but go ahead, continue. So your initial thought took you so long, but
what took you so long? But you do have a point. We're like feel like we live right now. Trump said the nation's laughing at us. No, the nation is actually standing with us at this point.
Yep,
it's just like the person is like, what took you so long? But he has valid points in everything he was saying in that video.
Nick, you heard that video. You saw The Rock. What were your thoughts?
I thought, he hit the nail on the head from the first second of that video till he cut it off. And, with his repeated, where are you? The first thing that I thought in my head was, it was a shot at Trump and our leaders. And I feel like if this was going on, 4 or 5 years ago, Barack Obama would have been on television speaking to the nation. If this were to have been happening 15 years ago, George Bush would have been on television speaking to the country about what's going on and trying to band us all together one way or another for whatever reason. But where has our leader been? He's been nowhere in that capacity. So I think The Rock is a really strong voice to say what he said. What was disheartening to me was, I went through and I read a lot of the comments on his post on Twitter, and it just is showing a lot of people's true colors. And I don't know any of these people that are commenting on his post, but some of the things they're saying had really nothing to do with anything he said in the video, but they're just being complete assholes. And I don't even want to use the term insensitive, just ignorant,
Right.
But part of me would love to see The Rock run for president, just because, I think some of his videos like that, I just think he's got some good ideas. I think it'd be really interesting. But the video was great. I think it's something that we need to see more of celebrities do, and
Yeah.
Well, John Boyega from Star Wars was protesting in London, and just apparently he's living in fear that he will be blackballed from Hollywood right now.
Oh, okay. Boyega? You said Boyega. I was like, what? Z, you saw The Rock video. What were your thoughts?
About the same as everybody else's. Again, it sounded like a shot at Trump, and I didn't really read more into it than that. That's how I took it. Yeah, I like Nick, I would also vote for The Rock in a heartbeat. Just because I'm biased. Plus, I get at least 4 years of him cutting promos at the White House, so that would be cool. Have it written on his forearm right there.
Right.
All his speeches.
4 years of finally, The Rock has come back to the Rose Garden.
And if he started every debate like that, they wouldn't stand a chance. No. Start rock bottoming people left and right.
Coming up here with a tie that looks like Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah, you could definitely tell the video was, obviously not scripted. It was straight from the heart and full of emotion, and as it should be. So, it was great to see, and like everyone else touched on, more people in that position of power, so to say, need to start, speaking their minds on the topic, and doing some good as well. But that's we've covered it basically.
My thoughts are just like everyone else's thoughts. The only thing I then went into is, could you imagine someone trying to be Rock's speechwriter, right? Like, here, Mr. Johnson, we have this for you. And he goes, and he just look at him and go, what? Who in the blue hell are you? And they try to say his name. It doesn't matter what your name is. The Rock comes out with his own speeches. He doesn't need you to come up here. Vince McMahon couldn't get The Rock to talk about what he wanted him to talk about. The Rock wrote it on his forearm if he wasn't going to remember.
Now imagine being at a debate. Oh, what's your name again? It doesn't matter.
That's just obviously, but yeah, it was 100% emotional, 100% direct from heart. Like you said, you could tell it wasn't scripted. He just talked. You could tell it wasn't a huge fucking production. The dude was standing off center as shit from the camera. It was just, it was him speaking from his heart, letting things out, and in a pure emotional way, in a way that he addressed everything, because he didn't just say Black Lives Matter. He said, yes, of course, all lives matter, and went further into it like that. So I agree. I thought it was great. I thought he hit the nail on the head, and you sit there for 8 minutes and you were more intrigued, more pulled in by everything that he said than anything in wrestling that has gone on since Edge came back, right? Like, there were, sure, they cut good promos and stuff, Edge and Randy Orton sometimes, but yeah, Jesus, you were just sitting there going, goosebumps, Rock, goosebumps. Moving on from The Rock bringing people together to Jackson Riker, who may have destroyed his entire WWE career with a tweet. Shortly after Trump did that press conference in the Rose Garden where he was saying he's for all the peaceful protests, which was at the exact same time that he sent people out to destroy a peaceful protest. He's literally saying, I'm for this, as he's fucking killing one of them. Normal shit for our president. Say one thing, do another. Shortly after,
threaten to send the military out.
Yeah, no, it was already after that. So then Jackson Riker puts out a tweet, and he goes, thankful for the POTUS we have. God bless America, built of freedom, forgotten no more.
Kevin Owens went in on him.
Kevin Owens definitely went in on him. Kevin Owens quoted the tweet and said, hey, man, I'm totally for you with the freedom of speech that you get to have on this platform. What really pisses me off is you decided to invoke your shitty catchphrase into the tweet expressing your feelings. And then going into even more things, like, so a lot of people pissed off at Jackson Riker, and then CM Punk took a shot at AJ Styles. He put up a tweet that said, a lot of people snitching on themselves. When people tell you who they are, believe it. Might be unfortunate and disappointing if you're a fan of that person or if it's your grandmother, but fuck them. Goodbye. And then in parentheses, I yield my time. Fuck you. And then someone commented, right? Silence speaks volumes. Seeing AJ Styles promote streams and shit, but couldn't be bothered to post anything, made it clear how he feels. That was a tough unfollow. And Punk responded to that, and he goes, well, come on. That one has been obvious for years. So there's a lot of wrestlers who have come out just saying as little as hashtag Black Lives Matter to people like Mustafa Ali, who's out there just trying to help people understand with a patience and tolerance that I could never have. One that we posted to our Facebook was this guy just said he doesn't trust Muslims. He never hasn't. And so Mustafa Ali is like, well, why don't you trust Muslims? And the guy commented why. And then Mustafa Ali gave like 4 tweets trying to help this guy understand that not everyone's bad. He's like, you're just like you're saying that not all police are bad because a few of them are assholes. Doesn't mean that all Muslims are bad because of radical ones, He goes, I'm a Muslim. My wife is a Muslim. My child, who is still learning how to poop, is a Muslim. There's been a lot of reactions, a lot more tolerance than can be even exceeded in my personal life. Like, man, I could never do what Mustafa Ali did there. And what he's still doing to other people. That's not the first time he did that. To the point where he said, and everyone, don't go fucking blasting where this guy works because we're not trying to get him fired. He doesn't need another reason to hate people. Like, let him go. Let him work. We're in a fucking recession and economy shit. Let the man live. Just let's give it a day. Smitty, are there things coming out during this, wrestlers, that you're like, holy fuck? Or are there any wrestlers that you're more sad that they didn't speak up, similar to what CM Punk was saying for AJ Styles?
Yeah, I was surprised with the AJ Styles thing. Punk's statement on backstage was something that kind of made me happy. It made me more of a Punk fan. There was also like Tammy Lynn Cinch and Linda Hogan's tweets, for fuck them. So Sunny days are been behind her for years now. And Linda Hogan, why didn't you change the last name back when you got rid of Terry? That's how I found out that Hulk Hogan was never allowed at AEW shows.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. He's like, you're banned along with your husband. I was like, well, they're not married anymore. But
yeah, so there's some people that are just like, it's wrestling, it's professional wrestling. I'm an African American wrestling fan. I've always known that this type of thing, I'm a niche audience to most wrestling platforms. There are a lot of African American wrestlers that are more famous on smaller promotions and indies that are talking about how some bookers won't have them after all the Black Lives Matter stuff. Mm-hmm. Another guy who came out and surprised me was Joey Ryan. Joey Ryan has a promotion out in California somewhere, and he said if anybody won't book you, you hit me up when this is over, and I'll book you. So, as an African American wrestling fan, I know some promotions I may not be wanting to watch anymore. I may have to take my eyes away from. But I'm happy about how a lot of wrestling communities come out, and still disappointed. There are people I'm fans of that silence becomes betrayal at a certain point.
Yeah. In response to the Jackson Riker tweet,
Batista went on him too.
Yeah, I had it all pulled up, and I just skipped right over it. Besides what Kevin Owens said, Steve Cutler, who is in the tag team, he goes, although I am part of a tag team, while I wrestle, I am my own person with my own thoughts and beliefs. It pains me to see what's going on in the world. I fought for the freedom of our country and all of the people who live here. It shouldn't matter your race or however you identify. We are all human beings and all deserve to be equal. Wesley Blake had a tweet quoted from Tony Dungy and said, I will never understand, however I stand. And those are the people that are in his tag team. Cutler is, they talk about how they're Marines and fought for the country. Cutler and Riker were the only two. And it was Wesley Blake is like, but I stand with them. So that's coming out from their tag team. Mustafa Ali said, I'm thankful you posted this because I'm now aware of what you stand for. When Black brothers and sisters are crying, you praise someone that refuses to acknowledge their hurt. Ricochet, I get you're a bad guy on TV, and I'm hoping that that's all this is. Even then, that ain't it. But if this is actually your true thoughts, I'll be really sad, man. Batista just said, I'll pass. I don't let ignorant motherfuckers get in my pocket. Somebody tweeted out in response to Riker's thing, Hangman Page saying, would you politely please shut the fuck up? And then Hangman commented under that and was like, politely, standing his. Joey Janela, someone is going to take a nice shit in your gear bag. Sami Zayn, literally built on oppression. Austin Aries, lay off the red Kool-Aid, dude. That shit's bad for your health. No, the blue Kool-Aid isn't any better. Fake colors are fake colors. And yeah, so Nick, you see all this stuff coming out. Wrestlers not saying anything. Wrestlers going against Jackson Riker, who is 100% all about the president in that tweet. What are your thoughts and feelings?
Well, again, it's going back to, you're seeing a lot of these true colors of a lot of these people, and, with these guys.
Sorry.
I knew that was coming.
That's what she said.
Man, there it is again. These wrestlers are in the spotlight now more than ever before. And, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but, it all goes back to human decency. And, Cutler said it again, he hit the nail on the head when he said he fought for this country, for everybody in this country, whether you're black, white, purple, yellow, gay, straight, whatever, for all of us to have these freedoms. And, for anybody to kind of insinuate that, that's not the case, it sickens me, honestly. I'm fucking tired of it. But yeah, all these wrestlers coming out to show their support is great. I think more of them need to do so. And like Smitty said, if you are remaining silent, that's almost just as bad as going out and saying something really ignorant. So, yeah, man, it's a crazy situation that we're in for sure.
Z. Same question.
What was the question?
You're so high. With all of the wrestlers speaking out, regardless of which side that they're on, what are your thoughts and feelings? Are you a little upset that some wrestlers aren't saying anything, aka AJ Styles, or would you prefer they just come out like Jackson Riker and just admit that they're not the greatest person in the world?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I would like to hear from AJ, but I don't know. I mean, I guess I would have to know more about the AJ Styles situation and exactly like how is he racist, or is he just pro-Trump, or you know what I mean? Like, but him staying silent doesn't help clear up any confusion here either. So, right. At least if he took the Jackson Riker approach, like, yeah, all right, we get it. We know where you stand now. So I don't really know. And I don't really, I don't know. It's a shitty time in America right now. But it seems to be making progress. So, that's good. But, yeah, it just, surprising to see where people fall.
I am, from my personal opinion on all this, which no one really gives a shit about, but that's what we do. We talk. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. When you see people who you obviously have highly respected in the business, not saying anything, because as it's been stated, the more silent you are, the more it seems like you're just with the side that's everyone's against right now. There's people who there's walking around with signs and all these protests that silence is violence, because you're not speaking up on anything. And what's really crazy is Styles is Georgia. Styles is in Georgia and Atlanta, where a lot of this stuff happened. There's a lot of stuff coming out about the police, and it's not. Look, yes, it's Black Lives Matter, but there's a lot of it's a lot of stuff about police injustice, and it's just the police are just showing themselves in full, hey, we're assholes mode currently, because to the point where they pushed down that 75-year-old man who hit his head and was bleeding.
In Brooklyn.
Yeah, and then there was another one where they used a non-lethal round to shoot a homeless guy who was in a wheelchair who couldn't get out of the way because there was no handicap access to the sidewalk, and the guy got shot in the fucking left eye. There's all and those the reason I use those specific examples is because those are two white guys, right? So it started and it has been and it should mainly be about the way that the police injustices against the African American community are just at a ridiculous level, because it's not like they have to worry about getting punished really for this. It's not like that none are never punished, but it's rare. It's a small percentage. So that's where it leads to. But it's just shown that it's police brutality, period. We need to fix this system. There needs to be reform. There needs to be better training. I saw someone post a sign that said, culinary school is 1,200 hours of training. Police academy is 800. And I'm like, what? What? It makes no
about
sense.
It's a couple months.
Right. But that's the thing is it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense why it's a quicker training regimen for people who have to go out and who are basically fucking social workers, man. We put so much on them, and I understand that it takes a lot, but you're telling people to go out and save lives, and you're not really giving them more training. You're giving them, what is it, fucking 2/3 of the training that a chef has in culinary school? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So stuff needs to change. And I'm really happy that it's way more people than just a single community, because it now leads into, it shows it's a solidarity in the United States. Hell, it's not even just protesting and peaceful protests in areas where are predominantly black. At least I know here in Michigan, hell, man, we had a protest out in Sterling Heights, which is a predominantly white neighborhood, a much higher income median going on out there yesterday, you know? So it's not just touching areas that are in a specific frame. It is a thing that is touching areas all over. And I agree with Smitty. This should be a time that it seems to give you more hope. Just because those fucking that cop got second degree, and just because those other 3 cops now have aiding and abetting second degree murder, aiding and abetting second degree manslaughter, that doesn't mean it's time to stop, though. You know, you have to still keep talking about this, because if there's one thing that is evident from what has happened is charges come and go. The convictions rarely come. And so you have to keep speaking out in peaceful, great protests just like that. Keep speaking out so we can get past just the charges on this, and we can move into convictions, which is what we need.
So
that being said,
the FBI also reopened a case on Breonna Taylor as well.
Yes. But that's what we need. We need persistent vigilance so things can move forward in a great light. And again, we don't condone the riots, the looting and everything, but at the same time, it's not my place to tell you how to protest when you're angry, man. I don't condone it, but I get it. You know, me personally, I think that's how everyone else feels here. You know, Z put a post on his Facebook that said, sometimes you just got to fuck shit up to get your point across.
I quoted Dr. King when they started breaking out in riots. The riot is the voice of the unheard.
Yep.
Yeah,
and that's just how it is. Okay, time to get into more arguing. The best in-ring the best in-ring wrestlers are what we talked about last week. I'll give you guys a quick rundown. Shawn Michaels for Joe is Shawn Michaels at number 1, AJ Styles, RVD, Eddie Guerrero, Bret Hart at 5, Kurt Angle, Kenny Omega, Ric Flair, Owen Hart at 9, and Chris Jericho at 10. I had Kurt Angle at number 1, Eddie Guerrero 2, Chris Benoit, Ric Flair. Someone eating candy?
It's Smitty.
I was grabbing my list.
Yeah, we can hear you. Shawn Michaels at number 6, Tetsuya Naito at number 7, Owen Hart, Kurt Hennig, and Daniel Bryan at number 10. Nick has Shawn Michaels at number 1. Okay, Smitty, I'm just going to go ahead and mute you because you don't know how to mute yourself. Okay, just give you a heads up. There you go. Bye-bye. Nick had Shawn Michaels at number 1, then Ric Flair, Owen Hart, Chris Benoit, Bret Hart at number 5, Randy Macho Man Savage, Steve Austin, The Rock at number 8, AJ Styles at number 9, and Jericho at number 10. Smitty with Shawn Michaels at number 1, Bret Hart, Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit at 5, Steamboat at 6, Jericho, AJ Styles, Randy Savage, and Dean Malenko at number 10. And then Z had Shawn Michaels at number 1 with Bret Hart, Ric Flair, Rey Mysterio, Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit at number 6, Orton, Owen Hart, William Regal at 9, and Eddie Guerrero at 10. This week, unlike last week where each person had at least somebody in their list that was not on everyone else's list, this week 2 lists have people that are on everyone else's list. Joe and myself, if there's anyone on our list, it is definitely on someone else's list. So let's get into it. We're going to quickly run through this. There's just 4 of us this week, but we're going to keep going in order as we were, just in the snake order, just like we were before. We talked about our honorable mentions, so if you want to go to last week's video, you can check out the honorable mentions. Number 8, 9, and 10 for Joe. He had number 10 for CM Punk, Hulk Hogan at 9, Randy Savage at 8. For me, and again, this is just mic work, how they are with promos, how they are with the microphone. That's it. Doesn't involve their wrestling, doesn't involve anything like that. At number 10, I have Austin. Number 9, I have Jake the Snake Roberts. And at number 8, I have the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Austin gets a lot of credit for his promo work, and as he should. But I have him at number 10 just for the simple fact that Austin was good, but there's a lot more people who are a lot more innovative with things that happened. I think Austin was great in his ECW run. When they pulled him out after the WCW and they just let him talk. I thought that's when his promo work definitely started to shine. And of course, as soon as he got into the Stone Cold gimmick in WWE, he was spectacular. But the problem with Austin, at least to me, is the minute you put him into something scripted, is he kind of falters. The New Day are those guys who combined. I would have, if this was a combination of promo, New Day should have been on there, but it's just single person promos. But the New Day took a gimmick that was just dead to rights, right? Just preachers, religious guys, and turned it into what it is today. And that is taking something that is scripted and making it better and amazing and spectacular. So yes, Steve Austin's number 10. Jake the Snake Roberts, if you paid attention to any of his promos, it was different. He was always like this, just the quieter mold, the raspier tone. And then HBK, man, I like HBK as a promo guy. I believe that he is one of those who, from the DX things, like when they're standing at the podium, we will no longer say ass, shit, just great hilarity. To then, also with DX when they came back and him and Triple H were doing the Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon. He's like, I just want to dance. And then he just dance around the ring. HBK can then bring you into an emotional thing, like when he was going up against Taker the second time, because it was no longer about, hey, I think I could beat you. It's, I have to beat you, blah, blah, blah. And stuff that brought you into it, that made you give a shit about that arc. Nick, your bottom 3. At number 10, you have Chris Jericho, the Ayatollah of rock and roll. You also have Jake the Snake Roberts at number 9, and the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, at number 8. Tell me why you have your guys where you have
them. Jericho, for obvious reasons. Just the shit that comes out of his mouth from back in the day until now, just he can cut a promo on anything from a wrestler to an inanimate object such as a fucking drone. The list of Jericho, all of it, just top notch. Jake Roberts, he was one of those guys that was, I don't want to say the term cerebral assassin, of course, but he made you feel like he was almost like a serial killer, and in a very creepy yet intimidating way. With his promos, he didn't have to be loud like a lot of those guys were at the time. He can just talk to you and let you know that he's going to fucking kill you. And then Dusty Rhodes, I mean, there's really no explanation needed for Dusty Rhodes. You know, a lot of people with a lisp like that have these self-conscious issues that they wouldn't put themselves out there, you know, the way that he did, and he did it. And he could just go, man, and he could just talk all kinds of shit without being, you know, completely disrespectful, and just you knew that, you know, you really got that. What's the word I'm looking for? He you know, he got you on the edge of your seat. You know, he got you paying attention to what he was saying. So,
Captivating.
Just captivating. One of the top guys to ever do it.
All right. Smitty, you and your number 9 and 10 are two people that are not on anyone else's list. You have The Miz at number 10, Raven at number 9, and CM Punk at number 8. Explain why you have Miz and Raven as your bottom two of your 10, but why you feel they should be mentioned in a top 10 case. And then, of course, why you have Punk at number 8.
So Miz made my list because he's always had decent promos. But then when he feuded with everything he's done with Daniel Bryan, he deserves to be on somebody's list at some point. He's been one of those guys that makes the mid card, like his promos make you pay attention to a mid card 100%. Whether he's chasing the IC title as a babyface or if he's a heel. Raven made the list because Raven had some, like, just like pretty much the same reason Jake Roberts makes most people's list. His promos were unique. He took an element, something as dark as Edgar Allan Poe type poetry, and use it in the style of promos. And that was something that always captivated me when it came to Raven, when he cut promos, especially in ECW. And Punk just pipe bomb. He always was able to shine in promos, and he's really great at what he was great. He was great on the mic, and I don't know why he didn't need Heyman, because they put him with Heyman. I think it was just trying to get heat on him.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Z, your number 10 is also someone that is not on anyone else's list. You have Jesse the Body Ventura at number 10, Kurt Angle at number 9, and Chris Jericho at number 8. So why does Ventura definitely feel like he should be in the top 10 for you? And of course, Kurt Angle and Chris Jericho.
All right, so Jesse the Body Ventura was one of the first flamboyant, I guess I'd say, wore a lot of colors, was very loud, had the feather earring. He had a very colorful personality. And his words on the microphone matched his colorful personality. So much so that he went from being one of the best wrestlers with a microphone to being the voice of the color commentary for a decade in the WWE. And he was never at a loss for words. And I know that, like, announcers and managers don't count, but the reason Ventura fell into those spots after was because he was so good on the microphone when he was a wrestler. So therefore, he should be on a top 10 list. I mean, not very high, obviously. That's why I have him at 10. But I still believe that he's one of the best to ever do it. Then you got, Kurt Angle, who, as a face or a heel, and that's one of the things I looked at when I was doing this list. Like, who's the best on the microphone as both? Because some guys are really good at being a heel, and some guys are really good at being a face, but can't do the other. And that kind of takes away from it, for me at least. So Angle could do it all. From the milk truck incidents to the tiny little hat and the ukulele, like, he made me laugh, but he knew when to be serious. He was a great bad guy, great good guy. He just all around solid. And then you have Chris Jericho, as Nick talked about. Like, the dude got the word "it" over. Like, the word "it" over. He got a fucking clipboard over. Like, he's done a broomstick. He's talked shit to Vanguard 1, and that's one of the more recent ones, but he's just very, very good with psychology and how to do it. And he's kind of got a formula. Like I've read his books, and he's kind of got a formula that he uses that's different than everybody else's, and it's been working for 20 some odd years. So all three of these men deserve to be on a list somewhere. And it's actually funny because Smitty's 8 through 10 were my honorable mentions.
Now let's move into your 5, 6, and 7. Your number 6 is also someone that's not on anyone else's list. You have Jake Roberts at 7, Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, at number 6, and you have Dusty Rhodes topping out your top 5. Go into why Ted DiBiase is number 6 for you and why he should have been on other people's lists. And of course, you can talk a little bit about Jake Roberts and Dusty if you feel.
I don't know why Ted DiBiase isn't on any one of your fucking lists. All right. Ted DiBiase was he was such a good heel, and he made you hate him with his words. Like, now, as far as when I got into wrestling years and years ago, Ted DiBiase was on probably like the decline of his career. He had, taken the spot as kind of like a manager who wrestles part-time. Even so, like when he won the title with Andre, and by that I mean buying the title off of Andre. It was never his in-ring work that caught me. It was what he would say on the microphone. And with he, much like Jericho, can go into a room and say about 5 words and have the fans absolutely hate him. But in the same sentence, 5 more words have them love him. He always had the fans at the tip of his tongue. Like he could control a crowd. He knew he was very, very, very good on the microphone. Like absolutely one of the best. As far as Dusty goes, I mean, Dusty is one of the best. Dusty was not only one of the best guys on the microphone, but one of the best teachers. One of the best, like you went to promo school with Dusty Rhodes, and he taught you how to get over because he knew how to get over. Everything that he was given in wrestling, whether it be good or shit, or, as Dusty would say, he made chicken salad out of chicken shit. So
polka dots,
and he still talked about today. He's still used as inspiration today. So, of course. And then Jake was really good. Again, one of those guys that could be face or heel. It didn't matter. He understood. He took a more psychological approach with his words. Like as Nick touched upon, he was in that era. It was just like people were yelling into the microphone, like, "Ooh, I'm a big tough guy, and I'm gonna kick your butt." And he just came out and talked real slow and real soft into the microphone, and it was, slightly disturbing, but it made you buy into him as a character. And I mean, look at him still today in AEW. He's one of the best minds of the business. He knows how to use the microphone to help get you over. So, Jake's, again, it's what it is. All right,
Smitty,
moving on.
Smitty, you're next. 5, 6, and 7. You have Stone Cold Steve Austin at 7, Jake the Snake Roberts at 6, and Ric Flair at number 5. 2 of these names are obviously on all of these names are on everyone else's list. But Ric Flair at number 5, again, one of the people that's known as one of the best around the world for his mic and his in-ring work. Why do you have him down at topping out your top 5, rounding out your top 5? So.
Yeah, because honestly, between him and my number 4, I kept flip-flopping.
Okay.
I honestly did flip a coin, and they said that's who got number 5 and who got number 4.
All right.
It's serious stuff.
I know you are.
Yeah, but Flair, like, honestly, that's the only explanation why he got 5 over 4. But Flair, like you say, he is one of the best, and he's definitely top 5. And let's say if it weren't for that coin flip, he would be 4 on my list. Now let's leave it at that. I know Flair's gonna get talked about way more in these top 3s probably for the rest of you.
Let's talk a little bit about Austin. You have Austin at number 7. We've obviously mentioned a lot about Jake Roberts. He's your number 6, but you have Stone Cold Steve Austin at number 7.
So I had Austin there because Austin had great promos, but babyface Austin, some of the best stuff he did is where he had props. When he had like a huge truck or a cement, he had something that always like he was probably one of the first guys I can say it was probably the most successful prop guy when it came to promos.
Okay. Not Paul Bear.
We're talking wrestlers, not managers.
Oh, good point.
So, and like say if you were to bring up guys like that, like Undertaker with the caskets and stuff, it still wasn't as captivating. It was like it got you into the character, but it didn't get you into whatever moment, whatever the promo was. It was just like Taker's props were more like to endorse a match.
Right.
Austin got one word over. He got what over? Probably still one of the most annoying chants in professional wrestling today.
What?
I've had this conversation with my roommate. I said one of the most annoying things we could probably ever get in our lifetime is Daniel Bryan and Stone Cold in the same ring.
What?
Yes. All right. I guess
it broke you. It broke you. That's an art of talking. It should never break you. If Alexa Bliss was able to flip this what chant around on the audience, man, that's why she was in my honorable mentions. Don't let the what chant break you. Be focused, Smitty. Focused. What?
Yes.
All right, Nick, you're 5, 6, and 7. Your number 7 is somebody that is not on anybody else's list. He was only on one other person's list for in-ring work, and that is Randall Keith Orton. Number 6, you have Roddy Piper. At number 5, you have Randy Savage. Explain why Randy Orton is on your list for your mic workers, and also Roddy Piper at number 6 and Macho Man. Ooh, yeah, Randy Savage rounding out your top 5.
Randy Orton, for me, on the mic is almost like a modern day Jake Roberts. And I to a point, I agree with what Z was saying, where, he looked at the fact that a guy could talk on the mic as a babyface or a heel. So if he could do both, then that was really his criteria for making his list. I do agree with that. For Randy Orton, not so much obviously on the babyface part of it. We've all talked before how he makes way better heel than he does a babyface. But as a heel, all the mic work he does for me just trumps anything he said on the mic as a babyface. It makes me forget all about it.
Sir, it's 45s. Anything he says, 45s. We don't use that word.
Okay. Don't break me.
Sorry, what?
But yeah, he just, and I know, a lot of things today are scripted, but he has a way to talk on the mic and be believable and have that ability to, I don't feel like it's scripted. I feel like it's very meaningful and from the heart, whether he's talking shit to Beth Phoenix about Edge and any of that. So I think he was definitely worth throwing on the list. Roddy Piper, I mean, one of the most infamous segments in wrestling history, especially back in the day, was his segment in the ring with, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the guy's name, the dude that blew smoke in his face, and Piper ended up hitting him with the fire extinguisher.
Robert Downey.
Thank you.
His son
when
played Iron Man.
he got on the mic, and he would go from 0 to 60 and bring it back down to 0 and just go back and forth in his intensity. And he just, I don't know, he was just fantastic on the mic, and he was, again, very believable that was his character in the ring and out of the ring. Randy Savage, I mean, he did a lot of yelling, but he did a lot of that where he would bring it back down and make you think that he was going to just completely dominate you. And then, so it was a matter of him being intense from top to bottom, from loud to soft. And I just thought he was fantastic. And, with I was going to say Sherry, when he was with Sensational Sherry, the two of them together worked really well. So
yeah. My 5, 6, and 7. Number 7, I have Roddy Piper, John Cena at number 6, and the American Dream Dusty Rhodes rounding out my top 5. Piper, I agree. I'll be very honest. From Piper up, I had such problems putting people where they were, where they are. It was in a matter of, we were talking about it last week. These lists are, look, you can rattle off anybody for all of these lists, but then you have to rank them. You have to say who's better than who, why they're better than that. And Roddy Piper, obviously one of the best mic workers in the entire business. There's a reason that he is so thought of, that he had his own talk show and things like that. John Cena at number 6, again, another guy who just, the rapping stuff got caught in the back of a bus. Stephanie McMahon, can you do that because it saved his job. His promo skills saved his job. He wasn't able to rap like that and then eventually cut promos the way he does now, or shortly after. His mic work was the only reason that he got to keep his job. And so obviously you have to be really fucking good. And then, of course, top 5, man, rounding out it is the American Dream Dusty Rhodes. That Hard Times promo will forever be etched in everyone's memory. When you have classic promos like that, it is really hard to say that somebody doesn't belong in a top 5 when they're cutting promos that are that good. Joe's 5, 6, and 7. Jericho at number 7. The Rock at number 6. And 5 was Jake Roberts. Now, last week, I said the most controversial thing about anyone's list is going to be where I had Shawn Michaels. I had Shawn Michaels as number 6 in the in-ring workers. Joe has The Rock at number 6. Z, which one do you think is more controversial? HBK at number 6 for in-ring workers, or The Rock at number 6 for overall mic workers?
HBK, hands down. Yeah, not only my bias, but it's actual fact. Anyways, way more controversial because I don't think. I mean, you're also biased with The Rock. I feel. I don't feel that The Rock is, the number 1 guy. Maybe number top 5, but not number 1. Also, since I have the microphone right now, anyone who doesn't have Piper at least at number 2, your list is trash.
Nah. All right. Moving up 2, 3, and 4. Joe has Piper at number 4. His list is trash. Dusty Rhodes at number 3, and Stone Cold Steve Austin at number 2. I have at number 4, obviously my favorite wrestler of all time, Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho at number 3, and Ric Flair at number 2. I'll get into it, man. This is the first time Kurt Angle shows up on – second time. Z had him at number 9. No one else has him listed at all. And it blows my mind because Kurt Angle is working with Shawn Michaels when he was Sexy Kurt. The promos with, Smitty said it with Austin, he had the beer truck. Kurt Angle came out with a milk truck. Kurt Angle taking on Rey Mysterio when he had the pinstripe fucking onesie on. And he was saying, you're a little boy and I'm a man. and I'm a man that takes care of little boys. I can't wait to get you on the ground. Just what? Stuff that should never have been said, but Angle made it funny. Angle brought out the 3 eyes in his first year as a WWE wrestler, and it was right off the bat that you could tell he had a way of speaking and keeping that crowd fucking hated him. He got booed in his hometown his first night out. Vince told him, he's like, you're going to be fine. Kurt's like, they're going to love me, man. He's like, you're going to be fine, pal. And he went out there and he got booed. Then, not only that, the stuff that he did in TNA was spectacular. The mic work against people like Samoa Joe. The mic time against Jeff Jarrett. Kurt Angle, I think, is really underrated on the microphone from a lot of other people. And I believe that is very evident from what you see on everyone's list. He's only touched one other list in this entire of all 5 of us. Jericho, agreed. Z said it best, when he had him at number 8. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, he got the word "it" over. He got a clipboard over, and the same another clipboard was how the feud started with him and Kevin Owens. Like, then moving into AEW, what he's doing, fuck AEW. That's now. New Japan, when he first started doing stuff in New Japan, talking up against Kenny Omega, talking up against Naito and stuff like that. It's just, Chris Jericho deserves to be known as one of the best people on the microphone. And then, of course, Ric Flair. It's Ric Flair. What can you say? The man has had a long history of nothing but promos. Even as an old guy right now, he still gets you hyped up watching him cheer for the University of Michigan. When he's going off about that, you're like, yeah, that's why I'm a Michigan man. Fuck everyone else. It's just Ric Flair. Nick, you're 2, 3, and 4. Number 4, Ric Flair. Number 3, Hulk Hogan. And number 2, Stone Cold Steve Austin. This is the highest that Hulk Hogan is on any list, Nick. Why do you think that he's number 3? And, of course, number 2, Austin, and number 4, Flair?
Hulk Hogan was really the first wrestler that I was exposed to as a kid. And it was, I think, the promos that he was cutting at a time, like in the early 90s, like 90, 91, 92, when Desert Storm was a big thing. He had adults hanging on every word. He had kids hanging on every word. He made me feel like I wanted Sergeant Slaughter to fucking die at WrestleMania 7. I know some of it was a little cheesy, like, take your vitamins, but there's certain things about these guys, like, you said Chris Jericho got the word "it" over Stone Cold with what, but anybody that you say, you don't even have to say his name. You just say the word brother, and chances are they're going to associate that word with Hulk Hogan. I mean, pretty much anywhere around the world. So I think with that being said and his level of intensity, I just think he deserves to be up there as somebody, I don't want to say that transcended the business as far as promos goes, because he certainly did not. But in that era, I think you can't have a list without having him up there. That's just my opinion. But
okay.
Ric Flair, in hindsight, he definitely should have been higher, I think, than Hulk Hogan. As I know that I said a lot about Hulk, but Ric Flair certainly is somebody that transcended the promo. No matter what that dude has ever said on the mic in any capacity, on any wrestling promotion, it can be on ESPN. He could be on fucking, The Talk with 4 fucking women at 11 o'clock in the morning. You're hanging on every word that dude is saying. So that's why he made it into my top 4. And like I said, in hindsight, he probably should be number 2, if not number 1. But and then Stone Cold Steve Austin, I mean, as a guy that's in the ring, yeah, okay, a lot of us agree that, the whole what thing can be annoying, but he's another one of those guys where everybody in the crowd stopped to listen to what he said, and every single person in the building would pause and say what, and he's the only person that would get away with it and have the timing actually correct, because he would talk and then the what. and it would just carry on and on and on. But when anybody else tries to do it, when people are fucking razzing other wrestlers and giving them shit by saying what, it just doesn't work. So he had a way to captivate the crowd. He had a way to pull them in almost like nobody else has. So I put him at number 2.
All right. Smitty, your 2, 3, and 4. Randy Savage at number 4. Roddy Piper at number 3. And the Ayatollah of rock and roll, a Y2J himself, Chris Jericho at number 2. Explain what your thought process was behind, other than the coin flip for Randy Savage at number 4. Explain the thought process behind Chris Jericho and Piper at number 2 and 3.
Piper got 3 tours. Piper's Pit.
Okay.
Like Piper's Pit is the original WWE like in-ring talk show. Like you had so many memorable moments. Like Piper had memorable moments, like smashing a coconut over Jimmy Snuka's head. He even reenacted it. Almost 12 decades later with Rikishi as well. You had the whole setup for WrestleMania 3 in Piper's Pit for Hogan versus Andre. And it was like his memories like that and promos like and just some of the lines that he had, like just when you think you got the answers, I changed the questions. It was memorable stuff like that got him at the number 3. Like you mentioned, Jericho is at my number 2 because I mentioned you said earlier, Mikey, about how everywhere he goes, he does something to get himself over, whether it's on the mic or in the ring. One of his first feuds in WWE, he went toe-to-toe on a microphone with The Rock. Even during the ECW and the invasion angle, him and The Rock went back and forth as allies as well.
The whore and the gore. Sorry.
Yeah, so it's like it's not. It's like just like Jericho in the ring, his character is always evolving, either it was in-ring work or his promos. Jericho, when he did the whole "I'm the best in the world at what I do," he reminded me of Nick Bockwinkel. So there was like his that's why he made number 2. Like his innovation on the microphone, his willingness to adapt and do something to try new things, and actually get things to work. And that's why he made number 2.
Okay. Z, you're 2, 3, and 4. Number 4, you have Ric Flair. Number 3, you have The Rock. And number 2, you have John Cena. Explain your thought process into going with your 4, 3, and 2.
Again, like you mentioned earlier, it was you write out a bunch of people that are good on the microphone, and you kind of just put them where you think they should be. Obviously, these 3 men, all 3 of them, are best in the business on the microphone. Flair made you want to be a man whore. He made you want to ride in fancy cars and, be with pretty women. And that was, as a kid, as a teenager, even as a male in my, younger 20s, I all about it. Then you have The Rock, who is, just such a natural on the microphone. He did get edged out by Cena because of the Cena calling him out for the writing on his forearm. But
Bullshit, by the way.
mean, he just the Rock struggled at first. The Rock struggled very, very bad, especially on the microphone. Until one day somebody was like, "Hey, man, just go out there and be yourself." And from there, it took off. So,
that was Pat Patterson.
His promos are, still talked about today, even though, it wasn't that long ago. It's still, probably 15, 18 years ago, maybe longer. And then you have John Cena. John Cena is a heel. John Cena is a face. Mikey said it himself. Like, John Cena's promo work saved his job. Not only that, but like, think about it. Cena is touted as being the best, or like one of, if not the best of all time, with the accolades and everything else. And people say he can't wrestle. Well, if he's so fucking good on the microphone, he doesn't have to fucking wrestle because he's entertaining as fuck. So he gets the number 2 spot.
All right. And then obviously with the snake draft, your number 1 is Roddy Piper, sir. Go ahead. Talk about why
I
Roddy
came
Piper is
here
number 1.
to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
That was They Live.
No shit, Smitty. Piper. I idolized Piper when I was a kid. I would sit there in front of the TV and just be in almost like a trance every time the guy would pick up a microphone. It was amazing, and every time he did, it was amazing. Like from like Smitty said, busting, hitting Snuka over the head with a pineapple. He knew what to say. He knew what the fans wanted. But part of the reason WrestleMania 1 and 2 were so big, and Piper really, I mean, he had a tag match and a boxing match, but he didn't really do much wrestling. But it was him talking about, him being a heel, him making Hogan look like $1 million and this really good guy while he plays the bad guy. Like he was ahead of his time as far as promo work, like to the point where people still try to be like him today. Like if there was no Piper, there was no CM Punk pipe bomb. If there's no, he was the first one that's like, you know what, man, go unscripted. Let's see what you can do. And he was one of the first wrestlers that they were like, all right, I just need you to put this over. Here's the dates, and then say whatever the fuck you want. Every time it came out, it was pure fucking gold. So,
yeah.
Like I was saying, if Piper's not at least number 2 on your list is trash.
Damn. Every one of these lists are trash except for yours.
Well, Smitty had him at 2. So me and Smitty.
No,
Smitty's right
I had him
about
at
something.
3.
Well, then your list is trash.
Your mama's trash.
Hey, she's getting a bucket of water dumped on her head. Calm down. Spoiler, almost everyone else has the same person at number 1 except Joe. Joe has – thanks, Smitty. Joe has Ric Flair at number 1. He's not here to talk about that. So we're going to go into what everyone else has as their number 1. And that is the most electrifying man in all of entertainment, the People's Champion, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I'll start. I'm a huge Rock mark. Fuck it. I don't give a shit. I've said it right here. Look, the dude made Under Armour clothes. I started buying Under Armour clothes. The dude made fucking movies. I watched damn near every one of them. Still haven't seen Rampage. It's just The Rock is what got me into wrestling. Like I watched it earlier, there's pictures of me, with Hulk Hogan cutouts as a kid and stuff. I've watched wrestling my entire life, but I didn't watch wrestling until The Rock. The way he talked, the way he turned things around, and in an era at a time where there were no scripts, it was, bullet points. You go out, you make your bullet points. The Rock was getting things over. Fuck, man. I think my favorite Rock promo is the one with him and Lillian Garcia, where he brings up the people's strudel and he says, "You want to be Miss Lillian Roxia?" And then he goes, "Just admit it, Lillian." And she's trying to be all professional and shit. And then he goes, "You want some of the people's strudel?" And she goes, "More than anything in the world, Rock." And he grabs the microphone and he goes, "A little professionalism, Lillian." Lillian, shh, shh, shh. Just spectacular promo, top to bottom. Smitty said it himself. There are times where he went with Jericho. There was the times he went against Jericho. Another one of the greatest on the microphone. The promo against NWO when Hogan went in for the picture, and then he goes, "Can't believe my kid loves this guy." Well, can't believe your kid killed somebody either. But still, so many things to talk about. So The Rock didn't win and hit everybody's gimmick. He's like, "You, Razor Ramon, Chico, you take that camera, shine it up real nice, and then you give it to your friend Big Papa, Big Daddy Cool Diesel. You turn that sideways, and you give it to Hogan. Say your prayers, take your vitamins, say your prayers, and shove it straight up all your candy." The Rock got everything over. There is a show on WWE television called SmackDown They took The Rock's catchphrase and it became a show. His move was so popular, it was named a WWE pay-per-view. It was in your house, rock bottom. The Rock, his charisma. We could talk about Piper. I love Piper. We could talk about Flair. We could talk about Jericho. We could talk about all of them. But the bottom line is, when The Rock even when he came back with the fucking shit on his forearm, which is like his only flub, The Rock jumped sales of Fruity Pebbles cereal because he shit-talked the colors of fucking Cena's wardrobe. You're coming out in red, you got your purple, you got your look like a box of Fruity Pebbles. Fucking Fruity Pebbles started flying off the show.
And then called him a yappa dabba bitch.
To the point where John Cena then became a mascot for Fruity Pebbles, and you saw him plastered on it. The Rock transcends the business more than anyone else. And that is why I have him at number 1. Because while we could talk about all of the guys in the top 10, the guys in the top 10 are top 10 in the business, where you have The Rock, who went and took it out of the business and got things out of the business while being in the business over. And you haven't really been able to do that outside of The Rock. Cena might be one of the closest, but again, I just think Rock is number 1. Smitty, why do you have Rock at number 1?
Remember, like, promos, great memorable moments. He's right, like, just like Piper, he has so many of them. Like, picking on Michael Cole, which is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Whenever The Rock would pick on Michael Cole or Coach, or whenever Rock picked on Jonathan Coachman, it was comedy gold. Let's see, the Poontang Pie is still one of my favorites. I think it's all of our favorites. Poontang Pie. The moment he had with Busta Rhymes on SmackDown.
Wait. Are you talking like in real life, like Poontang Pie? You're not for the people's strudel. You're for the Poontang Pie. You're not gay.
Yeah, surprise, right?
Yeah, you are gay. Well, I fucking knew you were gay.
But yeah. So the Poontang, it's like when he came back and rock bottom Michael Cole. Michael Cole was doing his little heel run. When he was in Miami, and he had the Boston Celtics shirt. He goes, "Go eat, bitch," and just hits him with the rock bottom. Sometimes when The Rock I feel like The Rock at times was a bully on the mic, but he didn't make it seem like he was being a bully on the mic. Like when he buried Billy Gunn after King of the Ring.
My name's Bill. It doesn't matter what your name is. Bob.
I think he was. He's kind of like the stand. Like for myself, he's like the standard. And maybe it's my age. Maybe it's just what he's like. Nick, him, and Hogan were like the standard bearers of like mic work. Me coming up watching wrestling. Those two guys. But then Piper,
you don't even have Hogan on your list.
Yeah, Hogan's not on my list because like Hogan, like when you said I had to start ranking them, I was like Hogan, even though he was iconic in some of his promos kind of felt like all the same to me when I went back and started watching them. A lot of it felt the same.
Not to go off on a sidecast, but that's why he fell off. He fell off my list for the NWO stuff, because when you're still cutting you weren't evolving. You were still cutting the same type of promo, even when it's a brand new direction and era for you. Z even talked about it. He's like, when you're face and when you're heel, that plays a part. Hogan, when he went heel, was like, first fucking thing he did when Mean Gene brought him the mic, let me tell you something, brother. You need it, like
all these fans can suck it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically still the same thing he was saying, just angrier. So I get it, but continue about Rock.
But he was just kind of like the standard torchbearer when it comes to cutting promos for anybody in the 21st century at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why
Nick. Oh, sorry.
I was like, that's why he's my number 1.
All right, Nick. Why is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson your number 1?
I mean, shit. Everything you guys just said. There was a time period for the Rock every single week for God knows how fucking long was just cutting the best promo, and then the next week he was cutting a better promo and then a better promo, and it just never ended. He, all these different catchphrases from, the Rudy Poo and Candy Ass. And, you said to yourself, there's a fucking show, a wrestling show that SmackDown that came from him.
It's actually in the fucking dictionary now, too. SmackDown became a word in the dictionary because of The Rock.
It's things like that you said, he transcended the idea of a promo and creating these catchphrases and, again, captivating the audience. Even to this day, if he comes on the mic, you're stopping what you're doing and you're going to listen to what he's saying. So I don't need to go into a whole lot of it because you guys hit, every point. But that's just the thing, is that there's so many points to hit. It never ends, so.
All right. So that is our list of our top 10 mic workers. Now we're going to get into our picks for NXT TakeOver in your house. Before we get into the picks, Smitty, how are you feeling about tonight's pay-per-view? Are you looking forward to it? No? Okay. Nick, how are you feeling about tonight's pay-per-view? Are you looking forward to it?
I am. I haven't really been keeping up on NXT that much up until like the last 2 weeks. But I think it'll be pretty entertaining. I am excited to watch it because NXT is, even if I don't fucking pay attention to NXT for months on end, I'm still super impressed by the pay-per-view. I don't even need to be invested in the storylines to enjoy it. So.
All right. Z, how are you? Are you excited for tonight's pay-per-view?
I didn't realize how good this card was until I started filling out my scorecard like 5 minutes before the show. There's a lot. There's a lot going on, and a lot of it's kind of everything's got a solid storyline. So you have Ciampa and Cross, and then you have Balor and Priest. Both of those have really good stories behind them going into tonight, on top of having what's going on with Gargano and Candice and Mia Yim and Keith Lee. That follows right along with the storyline they're going there. And then you have, Dream and Cole, which basically writes itself, but again, still following storyline. So NXT right now is doing a really good job of doing like a slow build storyline kind of matchups that, like, I looked at every one of these matches, and from watching the previous weeks, like, I'm invested in each one of these matches because of the stories being told throughout the card tonight.
And it's crazy because this is actually one of the bigger takeover cards, which is to say bigger. It's 6 matches when they normally only have 5. 6 matches, and the tag titles aren't even being defended on this card, which is a rarity because normally you get a couple stories and then the 4 titles are being fought for: the NXT Women's, the NXT North American, and the NXT Tag titles. And you only have the North American, the NXT Women's, and the NXT Championship up on this. And then there is 2 other matches that are happening. That is Ciampa and Cross and the 6 women. 3 other matches that are happening. I apologize. The Ciampa and Cross, the 6 women tag team, and Balor and Damian Priest. So this should be a really good one. We're going to get into it now. I will start, then Nick, then Z, then Smitty. Obviously, Smitty is the current Ring Crew champion, so he gets to go last with his picks. I don't know how he thinks he's a champion. He only has a picture of a belt. He doesn't even have a real belt. It's weird. He probably has Ring Crew suspenders or something, using that to hold his pants up. Fucking idiot. All right. Balor versus Priest. I have Finn Balor. I think he's winning by pinfall. Yes, I think the match will be over 15 minutes, and I think there will only be 3 finishers. Nick.
I actually have the same exact thing. Finn Balor by pinfall, yes, over 15 minutes, and 3 finishers.
Stop stealing my shit, Nick. Z, what do you got for Balor versus Priest?
I have Baylor by pinfall with 2 finishers, and yes, the match will be over 15 minutes.
All right, and champ.
You guys had what I had already. I had Balor winning by pinfall with 3 finishers.
Will the match be over 15 minutes?
And the match being over 15 minutes.
So 3 of us have the exact same fucking call for this fucking match. That's different. The numbers usually fluctuate a little bit more than that. Up next is the 6-woman tag team match. And again, before we keep going, ProWrestlingScorecards.com. You guys go there. You can sign up for the free digital beta. You get involved with all of the fucking people doing scorecards right now. It's fun. You get to see how you stack up against other people. Lord knows that's what everyone should want to see at all times. There's currently
113.
Thank you. 113 people doing the NXT takeover in your house. I wasn't able to scroll fast enough, so I forgot where it was at. Okay, 6-woman tag team. Nick, you're leading this one off.
I'm coming.
Ew.
I've got Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, and Gonzalez. Dakota Kai is going to make the fall. Shotzi is going to take the fall. 5 aerial moves and a pinfall.
You really want Shotzi to take that fall, don't you?
I do. Well, on many different levels.
Z.
I have Team LeRae winning by Candice making the fall, Mia Yim taking the fall, 6 aerial moves, and the finish will be a pinfall.
I have Mia Yim, Shotzi Blackheart, and Tegan Knox winning. I have Mia Yim making the fall. I have Raquel Gonzalez taking the fall. 9 aerial moves, and it will be also by pinfall.
Hey, you want to know why I didn't pick Tegan Knox's team to win?
Because she reminds you of your ex-girlfriend?
No, not at all. Because I happen to have a Tegan Knox shirt covered in puke downstairs, and I figured it was fine.
Fair. Smitty, what do you got?
I have Mia Yim, Shotzi, and Tegan Knox winning. Tegan Knox pins Dakota Kai, 7 aerial moves by pinfall.
All right. Up next, Tommaso Ciampa versus Karrion Kross with Scarlett by his side. Z, you're leading this one off.
I got Cross by pinfall with 3 near falls, 2 Doomsday Santos. Saitos. Whatever.
Saitos.
What does that even mean? What is a Saito?
That's the name of his German suplex. The one that grabs you and flips you over. It's a Doomsday Saito.
I didn't know if there was like a translation. All right, so 2 of those, and no, there will not be a fight before or after the
match. All right. I'm next. I have Killer Kross winning to Karrion Kross, beating Tommaso Ciampa. Pinfall is how he's going to finish it. 5 near falls, 2 Doomsday Saitos, and fuck yeah, there's going to be a fight before or after the match. Nick, Koenig 19, who you got?
I also have Killer Karrion Kross by pinfall, 6 near falls.
Whoa. Way too many Ks. For the name that you just gave that guy. Let's wrong. Yeah, let's just Karrion's fine. Killer or Karrion, you know. At least then it's cock if you have the or in between it.
Okay. 3 Doomsday Sausalitos and there will not be a fight.
All right. Smitty, what do you got for this match?
I have Karrion Kross winning by submission, actually. 5 near falls. No, fuck that nigga.
Wait, submission?
Yeah.
All right.
5 near falls and 3 doomsday Saitos, and guess what fight before after the match.
All right. Up next is the first of 3 championship matches. The North American Championship is being defended by Keith Lee against Johnny, the Heart of NXT Gargano, or the No Soul, all the heart, no soul. This is mine to lead off. I have Johnny Gargano winning by pinfall, 4 aerial moves, match time of 18 minutes, and yes to Candice LeRae or Mia Yim being at ringside. Nick, what you got for the North American title match?
I've got Keith Lee by pinfall.
Keith Lee?
4 aerial moves, 16-minute match, and yes to Mia LeRae and Candice Yim.
Z.
Hey, yeah. So me and Mikey basically have the same picks. I have Gargano by pinfall with 5 aerial moves, 18-minute match time, and yes, one or both of them being at ringside.
All right, Smith Kishi, what you got?
I've got Keith Lee winning by pinfall, 5 aerial moves, a 22 match time limit, 22-minute match time, and yes to LeRae,
All right. Up next, the backlot brawl for the NXT Championship. If Velveteen Dream loses, he can never challenge for the NXT title again as long as Adam Cole is holding that belt. So Adam Cole defending with the Undisputed Era against Velveteen Dream. Nick, lead it off, buddy.
All right. Well, I've got Velveteen Dream going over by pinfall. 10 near falls, 26-minute match time. Yes to the Undisputed Era interference. A wrestler will not bleed. And yes, there will be vehicles driven.
All right. Z.
I have the Vaseline Dream winning by pinfall. 7 near falls. 25-minute match time. Yes, error will interfere. Yes, wrestler will bleed. Yes, vehicles will be driven.
So if the Dream is the one driving the vehicle, would that make him a Stone Temple pilot?
Ooh.
Since he's the Vaseline Dream?
Jesus Christ.
I also have Velveteen Dream going over Adam Cole for the NXT Championship by pinfall. 7 near falls, 21-minute match time. Yes, the Undisputed Era will interfere. No, a wrestler will not bleed. Yes, a vehicle will be driven. Smith Griddle, what you got?
I have Velveteen Dream winning the championship by pinfall, 8 near falls, 26-minute match time. Yes to the interference by the Undisputed Era. No to a wrestler bleeding. And yes, a vehicle will be driven.
All right. Lastly, and we say lastly because there's no unscheduled appearances. There is no tables. Just matches on this one. If there's anything that the people at Pro Wrestling Scorecard learned was while wrestlers are your audience, stop using unscheduled appearances because it's fucking impossible to realize who's all in that ring in around the ring because they all count as an unscheduled appearance. So, triple threat women's championship match, NXT women's championship match. Charlotte Flair defending the NXT women's title against the Eye of the Sky, Io Shirai, and Rhea Ripley. Z, you're leading this one off.
All right, so I have Charlotte Flair winning by pinfall. Shirai will take the fall. 6 aerial moves, 2 submission rope breaks, and yes, weapons will be used.
All right. I have Charlotte Flair winning as well, though I'm going with a submission over Io Shirai as well. 7 is my aerial moves, 3 submission rope breaks, and yes, a weapon will be used. Welcome back to the face of the Podcast Z. Nick, who you got?
I have Io Shirai going over here by pinfall. Rhea Ripley is going to take the fall. 7 aerial moves. I was kind of confused at the fact that they have submission rope breaks because it's a triple threat, so there really shouldn't be a submission rope break.
Rope breaks are still a thing in a triple threat. There's just
You can't be DQ'd for
right.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't be.
Okay.
You don't have 5 seconds to let it go. You can let it go.
That's where I was thinking. Okay, that's right. Well, I put 1.
Okay.
And then no weapons used.
All right. And finally, Smitty.
I have Charlotte Flair winning by submission. Io Shirai takes the fall. I also have 7 aerial moves, 4 submission rope breaks, and yes, weapons will be used because they've been using the hell out of that kendo stick lately.
Smitty, we basically have the same card, so it's us versus everyone, I guess, on this fucking thing. You're just taking that belt right back from me. I mean, not taking it back. I still have it. COVID, bitch.
All right, Daniel, I have a suggestion. You should do extra points for picking when the match will happen. So all these 6 matches, you have to pick the order of the match, and for every match you get right, you get an extra point.
I have been he texted me and he was like, hey, I need some, like, do you have any idea for extras? I'm going to pull it up. He goes, any extra ideas for in your house? I've been telling him because when the TNT championship was being announced, I was like, dude, if I would have thought this earlier for the AEW card, you should have had for the Cody match. There's going to be a poll on Twitter. What do you think of the TNT championship? Looks great. Looks like shit. I go, whoever, whatever the poll overall is, and whatever you picked on your card, that's 3 extra points. I go, I wish you could do something with the poll for that. I go, I'm still going to push for match placement extra forever till it happens. That also doesn't have to be every match. But I agree. Like,
yeah, no, you just go down the side and you number them 1 through whatever. And if you happen to get it right, you get an extra point. If you nail the card, you get, in this case, you get 6 extra points.
Yeah, and that's what I would do. I would like 3 points. It's no plus or minus. But the extra is if you hit all of them perfectly, you get an extra 10 points on your card. Yeah, I fucking have said I agree with that wholeheartedly.
How many times have we based our picks off of assuming the card order is the order laid out on it? Because there's a couple different things like Money in the Bank and stuff like that. Depending on where stuff falls, I would pick differently. You know what I mean?
Right. Like if I knew that the Casino Ladder match was kicking off the AEW Double or Nothing pay-per-view, I would not have put MJF as the unannounced person. I would have been like, MJF has a match later, so I'm going to pick some. I mean, I ended up picking Brian Cage as an extra because that was like my fallback. But still, I would not have picked MJF as the unscheduled appearance, the unscheduled person in that match. But yeah, I agree. I am all for that shit. Ladies and gentlemen, that's fucking it for us. We're fucking done. Be safe. Be healthy. Remember, COVID-19's not gone just because it's not the top fucking story in the news right now. Still be safe. Please be out there. If you're going to protest, please try and do it peacefully. But again, it's not our place to tell you how to protest. Hopefully, you're agreeing that there's change coming in this world and it's change for the better, and we can all be happy about that. So with that, go to breakingdownthering.com. Remember, our brand new Pride shirt, 30% of the cost that you pay for that shirt goes to help support the LGBTQ youth and help them in growing up with what many people are bashing them for, which they shouldn't. Your life is your life. Your partner is your partner. Doesn't matter if it's man, woman, trans, anything. You are who you are. You are a great person as long as you're making sure that this world is moving forward for the positive. Check it out, breakingdownthering.com. You can also follow all of our social media on that. And we are your ring crew.
The champ, Smitty.
Koenig 19.
Just a plain white Z.
And me, the almighty one, Mikey himself. Thank you again so much for watching and listening. And we are out.